I woke up to the sound of birds singing outside my window. The morning light was soft, filtering through the curtains. My room was quiet except for the ticking of the old clock on the wall. I stretched my arms and sat up, feeling the warmth of my blanket. Today was going to be different. I could feel it in my bones. I got out of bed and walked to the small window. The trees outside were moving gently with the wind. I took a deep breath and smiled. It was a beautiful day. My little town always felt calm in the morning. The streets were empty, and the air smelled fresh. I put on my favorite shirt and walked downstairs. My mother was already in the kitchen, making breakfast. The smell of toast and eggs filled the house. I sat at the table, watching her move around. She always made breakfast with care, as if it was the most important task of the day. She turned to me and smiled. "You woke up early today," she said. I nodded and picked up my toast. "I feel like today will be special," I said. She laughed lightly and placed my plate in front of me. "Every day is special," she said. I thought about her words as I ate. Was every day special? Or did I need to do something to make it special? After breakfast, I stepped outside. The street was waking up, shops were opening, and people were walking to work. I walked slowly, taking in the sights. The bakery on the corner smelled sweet. The florist had fresh flowers outside, bright and colorful. I greeted the old man who always sat by the fountain. He waved back, smiling. I kept walking, feeling a strange excitement in my chest. I didn't know why, but something about today felt different. As I walked past the bookstore, I noticed a small sign in the window. It said, "Rare books arriving today." I loved books. I always visited the store, looking at the old covers and smelling the pages. I pushed the door open and stepped inside. The owner, a kind old woman, greeted me. "You're just in time," she said. "A new collection arrived this morning." I followed her to the back of the store, where she had placed the new books. The covers were worn, the pages yellow with age. I picked up one with a dark blue cover. When I opened it, I saw something strange. There was a small note inside, written in faded ink. I read the note carefully. It said, "If you find this book, follow the signs." My heart started to beat faster. I looked at the owner, but she was busy arranging books. I turned back to the note. "Follow the signs? What signs?" I flipped through the pages, searching for more clues. On page 50, there was a strange mark in the corner, a small drawing of an arrow. I traced my finger over it. What did it mean? I decided to buy the book. As I walked out of the store, I felt a new excitement. Maybe today was special after all. I carried the book home, reading every page carefully. I found 3 more small drawings hidden in the corners, a key, a door, and a star. What could it mean? I decided to visit the library. Maybe I could find some answers there. At the library, I placed the book on the table and opened it again. The librarian, a serious-looking man with round glasses, walked past me and stopped. "That's an old book," he said. I nodded. "Do you know anything about it?" I asked. He looked at the cover and frowned. "I've seen that symbol before," he said, pointing at the little star on page 90. "There's a carving just like it on an old building near the town square." My heart jumped. A sign! I thanked him and rushed out of the library. I walked quickly to the town square, looking around. There were many old buildings here, but which one had the carving? I searched every wall, every door, every window. Then I saw it. A small stone carving of a star, just like the one in the book. It was above an old wooden door. I stepped closer and placed my hand on the door. It creaked open, revealing a dimly lit staircase leading down. My breath caught in my throat. I looked around, but no one seemed to notice me. Should I go inside? I held my book tightly and stepped forward. The air inside was cool, and the walls were made of stone. My footsteps echoed as I walked down the stairs. At the bottom, there was another door. I hesitated, then pushed it open. Inside was a small room filled with old papers and books. A single candle burned on a wooden table. In the center of the table was a map. I stepped closer, studying it. There were markings on the map, lines and symbols. One of them matched the drawing in my book, the key. What was this place? Who had left the book for someone to find? I turned the map over and saw another note. It was in the same faded ink. "The journey begins here," it said. My mind raced. A journey? Was this meant for me? I sat down and studied the map carefully. It showed places in town, connected by lines. I recognized some of them: the bookstore, the fountain, the library. Each place had a symbol. Were there more clues hidden around town? I decided to find out. I took the map and left the room, closing the door behind me. The evening sun was setting as I walked back into the streets. My adventure was only beginning. The sun was setting behind the old buildings, casting long shadows across the streets. I held the map tightly in my hands, my mind racing with possibilities. The symbols marked places I already knew, but I needed to understand what they meant. Were there hidden clues at each location? Was I supposed to follow them in a certain order? I decided to start with the bookstore, since that was where I found the book. As I walked back, the streetlights flickered on, bathing the town in a warm glow. The air smelled of fresh bread from the bakery and distant rain. The bookstore was quiet when I stepped inside. The owner gave me a kind smile as I wandered to the back shelves. I pulled the book from my bag and studied the first symbol, the key. Was there a key hidden here? I scanned the books carefully, my fingers brushing over old spines. Then, in a small gap between the shelves, I saw something glinting. I reached in and pulled out a tiny brass key, aged and worn. My heart pounded. This had to be part of the mystery. I turned the key over in my hand. There was a small engraving on it, the same star symbol from my book. I took a deep breath, feeling the excitement rise. Was the key meant for something specific? I thought back to the other places marked on the map. The fountain had a symbol too, the door. I hurried out of the bookstore, moving quickly through the streets. The town square was quieter now, only a few people passing by. The fountain stood in the center, the water gently flowing. I walked around it, searching for anything unusual. Then, near the base of the fountain, I saw a small carved marking, a tiny door etched into the stone. I knelt down, running my fingers over it. There was a small indentation, just big enough for the key I had found. My pulse quickened as I slid the key into the indentation and turned it. There was a soft click, and suddenly a section of the fountain shifted slightly, revealing a small compartment. Inside was a folded piece of paper. I carefully took it out and opened it. The handwriting was the same as the notes in my book. "Go where the stories sleep," it read. My mind raced. Where the stories sleep? The library. That had to be the next place. I folded the paper and stuffed it into my pocket, standing up quickly. This mystery was leading me across town, pulling me deeper into its secrets. I hurried toward the library, the night air growing cooler. The librarian was still there, sorting through books. I nodded to him as I walked past, heading for the farthest shelves. Stories slept here, between the pages of old books and forgotten records. I looked carefully, searching for something hidden among them. My eyes landed on a single book sitting slightly apart from the others. It had no title, just a plain cover.